Hello, and welcome back to How I'd Remake the MCU if I had the power to time travel. My name is Sean Holmes, representing the Hidden Channel, as well as various other channels. Thanks for returning back. If you've been with this story that I've been developing, we covered from 1992, the point where I'd want to start my MCU at, and we ended in 2000 with my concept of my MCU Avengers. Now I want to jump to 2002 and present my X-Men. The first scene for my X-Men would start at the X Mansion, morning, upstate New York, Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Want to introduce Cyclops, Iceman, Alex, brother to Cyclops, and Beast, all in their teens, training in the Danger Room against SHIELD LMD robots managed by Professor Charles Xavier. Sometime during that training, Charles Xavier stops the practice to introduce a new team member. That new team member will be Jean Grey as a teenager. The X-Men's reaction to the newcomer Jean Grey is that of an unfriendly feeling that she feels when she meets them. Part of the reason is because she's female, and that would contradict their team logo, the X-Men. It is at that point Iceman suggests changing the X-Men's title to X Factor. Moving on to scene 2, will be at Scott's bedroom. The focus is Angel. It's Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Warren Worthington, aka Angel, flies into Scott's bedroom to share intel that Scott, has been waiting for. Bobby and Beast later enter into Scott's bedroom to find out what's going on, and Angel tells them all what he told Scott. This information that Angel shares with Scott and his team is a secret from Charles Xavier. While Angel is telling the team what he knows or what he wants them to know, Jean, secretly behind Scott's door, overhears what they're saying. The secret that Scott is keeping from Charles Xavier is that they plan to secretly engage Marvel's Wrecking Crew at one of Angel's dad's companies. Scene 3. The focus is the Wrecking Crew. It's 10 miles away from the X Mansion. It's Friday, 5:45 a.m. Scott's team deploys to the target area where the Wrecking Crew's at. Jean follows them after she puts on a uniform she made herself and proceeds to the area by flying. It's an ability she possesses, along with her telepathic capabilities, that she's not comfortable using. But she does her best. Upon arriving at the targeted facility, Scott attacks the Wrecking Crew unsuccessfully, causing the X-Men to fall back in fear. Before the Wrecking Crew can kill Scott, Jean flies in, saves Scott's life, and the cops arrive, following a disturbance call. Scene 4 focuses on the professor. It's about punishment. It's 3:30 p.m. Friday. So Professor X wakes up out of bed and he notices his students are not at the mansion. So he uses Cerebro to find them. After finding out where Scott is and the rest of the X-Men, he goes to the location where they're at and he starts scolding Scott for leaving without permission from the mansion and using his powers in a way that would endanger his own life and the team. Scott argues with Charles about the importance of using their powers to help a friend like Angel. But Charles was too upset to hear what Scott was saying, and he renders his punishment on the X-Men. Okay, scene 5 is about the conclusion to Charles Xavier's punishment of the X-Men. It focuses on where they went. who they were sent to. In this case, they were sent to military commanders. It's 2 months from the scene that occurred with the working crew against the X-Men. So again, 2 months, 3 days from scene 4. Scott, Jean, and the other X-Men, except Angel, arrive at boot camp. Boot camp is where Charles Xavier sent the X-Men as part of their punishment. They arrive at this camp by bus, and a military officer yells at the X-Men and the other students on that bus to quickly exit the bus, which they do. Another person, or grown-up, a camp official, who waits for the students to exit the bus, gives the students the schedule for the time that they're at this camp. The schedule is a list of things that they're going to do while they're at this camp, learning discipline, and some of the events and exercises that are designed to make their stay not just about learning, but about fun. This information includes information about the last week of camp, which is referred to as Warrior Week, prizes, etc., etc., camp rules, that kind of thing. Scene 6 is lunchtime. It's 12 p.m., 6 hours from X-Men's arrival at the camp. It's still Friday. The students are eating lunch. While they're eating lunch, a team known as the Hellions enter the lunch area, announcing their authority rudely. Apparently, they're the leaders of this camp, or I should say junior leaders, since they are at the same age as the X-Men attending the camp. They are also mutants from the comic book. They come from a higher class of society. They're school congruent to the X-Men in a lot of ways, different in others. When the Hellions enter the lunch area, they enter with sort of a arrogance about them. And the impression the X-Men get from them is that they're snobbish, rude kind of people or students. The youngest X-Men, Iceman, whispers in Scott's ear about dethroning team leader of the Hellions by beating them during Warrior Week. Now, the Hellions team consists of Cat's Eye, Empath, Roulette, Warpath, and Firestar. Empath turns to Scott and demands he stop staring at him. Scene 7 is the third week of basic training. The focus is the training and exercises the students at the camp is doing. It's Tuesday, 6:30 a.m. The students of boot camp are commanded to go through vigorous training exercise secretly designed by the Hellions. Scott climbs a wall and lands on what he thinks is solid ground, only to discover that the ground was mud caused by the mind mutant manipulation of Hellions member Empath. Hank McCoy tries to outclimb Hellion member Cat's Eye, but he fails to make it to the top before because she's using her mutant powers to give herself the agility to beat Hank. X-Men's Alex Summers and Bobby Drake are playing dodgeball with some other students and Hellion members, or I should say against Hellion members, Warpath and Roulette. Because of the Hellions' powers, Alex, Bobby, and the other students that are on their side receive burns and bruises all over their body on a simple game of dodgeball because they're using their powers to cheat. Scene 8, Seducing Jean Grey. The focus is Marvel Girl. It's Tuesday, 3:30 p.m. After the training day that occurred earlier in the day ends from Scene 7, Empath, Hellion member, starts harassing Jean. Scott sees that and blocks Empath from his constant harassment of Jean. The friction between Empath and Scott starts to build even further. Jean tells Scott privately that he needs to be careful with dealing with Empath. Scott kind of brushes Jean off, but then Jean pulls him back as he starts to walk away from her and not take her seriously. And she tells him she thinks he's a mutant and that he's hiding his mutant gifts to use it as an advantage at the camp. Scene 9 is about Firestar's struggles. Angelica Jones. It's Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Warpath and Angelica find and capture a student of the camp, attempting to flee the area. After Angelica and Warpath bring back the student who tried to flee camp to Empath orders Angelica to burn him. Angelica refuses Empath's orders to burn the student, and she flies back to her dorm on the boot campgrounds. Moments later, Angelica begins to cry in her room. Scene 10 is about friends bonding between Angelica and Jean. It's Wednesday, 11:30 a.m. While passing by Angelica's dorm room, Jean overhears her crying. Jean enters the girls, Angelica's room, to counsel her. While counseling Angelica, Jean reveals to her that she's a mutant. Both Angelica and Jean bond while flying over the camp unnoticed. So the two girls meet. Jean helps her out, and the two begin bonding and flying around the area because they're both mutants with similar qualities and gifts. It's Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. While both Angelica and Jean continue to defy gravity, they observe grown-ups forcing students into a hidden structure in the forest at the camp. Out of curiosity, both Angelica and Jean investigate the reason why camp students are being forced into an unmarked building. The girls walk into they perceive as a one-story facility. As they get into that facility, Jean does a telepathic scan of the building, and the girls discover a passway underneath their feet inside that building. Jean and Angelica proceed to explore the secret facility that they discover beneath their feet. And they find the presence of unknown aliens that we, the audience, will pick up right away as Skrull. I introduced a Skrull in my first Avengers video project for YouTube. That same Skrulls, or those same Skrulls, are here at the camp. It's scene 12, Skrull facility, Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Using her telepathic powers while grabbing Angelica's hand, Jean is able to trick the minds of the Skrulls that are walking among them in the facility that they're exploring. The girls discover grown-ups imprisoned in pods set up by the Skrulls, of course. They see senior leaders of the Hellions, a bunch of other students, and Eric Lyncher, also known as Magneto. Apparently, the Skrulls have taken over either the entire camp or parts of the camp to perform their experimentations, their studies. Months later, Jean struggles to maintain the telepathic guise she's using to shield herself from exposure to the Skrulls that they're close to. So the girls, Jean and Angelica, quickly try to exit the facility. They get to the exit and they fly away without being noticed by the Skrulls. Scene 13, After Hours. The focus is the revelations. It's Wednesday, 9 p.m. Jean brings Angelica to Scott and her team, the X-Men, to share what they've learned about Skrulls on their campus grounds. Both girls tell Scott about the abducted humans that they saw in pods captured by the aliens. Alex Summers questions Jean's sanity. Scott decides to take Jean's claim seriously, and Hank begins unpacking the X-Men's uniform along with Jean's attire for a possible battle with the Skrulls. It's now scene 14. It's Earth's X-Men versus the Skrulls. Sort of like a round two, only we sub in the X-Men for the Avengers. It's Wednesday, it's 10 p.m. The X-Men with Angelica find the Skrulls. With Jean's help, the battle between the X-Men and Skrulls commences, with the X-Men losing because they're untrained kids trying to pick a battle with adult Skrulls. However, the fight shifts to the X-Men's favor as Emma Frost and Eric Lyncher are freed from their pods. They tip the balance of this battle back in the X-Men's favor. Professor X was long alerted moments before the battle took place, so he was able to fly in with the help of Moira McTaggart and Angel on a helicopter to put a stop to what the Skrulls were doing and get his X-Men out of harm's way. He was followed by SHIELD government agents in their airplanes, their transportation equipment. But before the battle ends, Charles is shot with a Skrull device, which kind of puts him into an unconscious state, and his fate remains unknown at the end of that movie. One more thing I would like to add into this is that Charles was distracted momentarily by someone else that was potted at the camp. Another alien that wasn't Skrull, or any other alien that was introduced. I want to leave a subtle hint that this is Lilandra of the Shi'ar Empire that was also in one of those pods. That might be a little too much, but if teasers are a good thing, I think Lilandra would be a good teaser for a version of my X-Men. That's all I have for you today. Thank you. My name is Sean Holmes. Till next time, for another segment of my MCU.